Today, we're going to be talking about tips and tricks for using Google Classroom. So I'm going to share some suggestions of ways that you can use Google Classroom with your students as we're on these distance learning days. Please drop your name in the chat and what school you're from. That way we know that you're here, and that shows as a record that you've attended this session. So we're going to be talking about all about the Google Classroom. Very informal in the sense if you have any questions, drop them in the chat, unmute yourself, ask a question if you have it. So I want to point out a couple of things, and I do have kind of a formal presentation, but I'm not going to run through that. I just want to point out a couple of things. One of the first things that I think is very beneficial as you guys are using your Google Classroom is that you can do a custom header. This way your students can differentiate your classes. I have a template, which I will share out that link at the end of the session. Also, to make your classes a little more engaging in terms of Google Classroom and Google Forms does not allow you to bold or italicize text. So you can use the cool fancy text generator, which is a website, to type in information to get different styles of text. This comes in handy in your Google Classroom. So I'm actually going to open up. Actually, I'm going to go to my demonstrators one because I know I differentiated a couple of different things in there. So when you go into Google Classroom, you want to make sure that you ignore the stream. And the reason you want to ignore the stream is it's like Facebook or any other social media stream where you get kind of lost at what's going on. So here, if I go to the stream and I start clicking on things, I'm going to get confused as to what I should be doing first. This is where you're going to see messages posted, but you want to tell your students to go straight to the classwork tab. If I go straight to the classwork tab, you're going to see that I have different sections here. So I have used that fancy text generator to do different headlines and text in my Google Classroom. So that's one tip I would suggest to make yours stand out. I also have used that custom header so you could make your class a little more engaging and they can tell them apart, because now they're diving into their Google Classrooms. They're going to be able to make sure which class do I need to go to. And it just personalizes the Google Classroom experience. So I'm going to go in here and you're going to see I have a couple of things. I'm going to go again, remember, regard that stream, although you might see messages like this. So like I posted a message to all of you about distance learning topics that we're going to be providing training on. So that's in the stream. So that's message. It also shows anything else that's posted. Again, we're going to go straight to the classwork section. And as you can see, I've got multiple topics. So I've been sharing out resources for distance learning. Yesterday, I had a Discovery Ed session and a Wakelet session. So I've included those links to those recordings if you want to check those out. You want to organize by topics. A lot of teachers have been just posting things in their Google Classroom and not using the topic feature. To create a topic, you're going to hit plus and you're going to hit create. Now, the purpose of a topic is that means that I can align my assignments to a particular topic, which means students can filter. Because on the left-hand side, if I only want to see my distance learning stuff, I can click on that as a student and it's going to filter. And it's going to actually open up each assignment so that I can see the instructions. Under the original, just under a topic, it's just going to be collapsed down and you're only going to see the assignments. But notice if I go, I want to see all my distance learning stuff, it's expanded it so I can see any instructions. And as a student, I can easily add a comment or question for my teacher. Notice I have multiple topics over here. So I've got distance learning, Microsoft Learning Tools, weather-wise, tools for assessment, Google Flipgrid, all of that. These are all trainings I've provided. So if I go back to all topics, it's going to collapse that down. And notice I scroll down here and see all of these topics. Now, what's great is I can, within a topic, drag and drop and move assignments in any order I want. So my personal suggestion as you guys are working right now is that I would create a topic that says today. The reason I would do that is that's going to serve as the agenda for your students. Now, I'm also going to use a little emoji up here so I can search, and I'm going to grab calendar. I like that one. Okay, and I've just posted that emoji in there. I've said today. So now this is a new topic. As you add topics, the most recent one you create is going to be added at the top. As you join, please make sure to drop name in the chat window so that I know you're here and what school you're from. This serves as attendance for you guys so that I can have a record of who's participated. You can also drop in a question as well. So I've created this today topic, and now this is where I would want to add my assignments. The benefit of doing that is that when the kids log in, they know that that's what they need to be working on for the day. So think of it like your old school whiteboard in the classroom where you would write your daily agenda. If I do a today section, I'm going to let it live there. I'm going to add my today section, and I'm going to add my assignments. Then once the day is over, I can drag it down to another organization system. If I'm using units, if I'm doing classwork, homework, or however else you want to organize it, drop it down. And you could also do like day 1 distance learning, day 2, and then you can reorganize it that way. I think that it's really important that we streamline the process for students so that they know this is what I'm working on today. So I think that today option is crucial. Any questions on how we add the today topic? So again, to create a topic, we hit plus topic. All right. So I could also be like week 1. Okay. And I use that Chrome extension, which is available in my Google Classroom, which you guys are all members of. And I could search for a number 1. Okay. And I can put that in here at the front of it. All right. And add that. And what it's going to do is give me a new topic. So I can use that fancy text generator. So cool symbol lets me type in fancy text if I want it to stand out. It just is a way to differentiate things in your classroom. So I could say 1, scroll down, and I can copy any of these that I want. Maybe this one, I can copy this. I can go back here. I can edit this, rename it, and it uses that text. So now it's going to be a way for it to stand out and to differentiate what's going on in your Google Classroom. Any questions on that? Again, you can drag and drop. So if I wanted to move this, all I got to do is drag and drop it. I used to have to go and edit and change it and do all that. You do not. So it's very easy for you to, I could say, all right, today we're going to watch this. Today we're going to do this. And I can rearrange it. That's really important. So next up, in order for you to gauge students have logged into your Google Classroom, you might want to post a question. So I can just post a question, and you have 2 types of questions you can ask. So Google Classroom offers the option of a short answer. That's the default option. So you could say, sign in, name, and favorite cereal. Kind of makes it fun. And that way it's not them just typing their name. Okay, name and your favorite cereal. Short answer, and I can add in there. I can provide any additional instructions. Now, here's the great thing. If you have more than 1 class, which we all know you do, when you get ready to post a question, you can go up here and do this drop down, and you can select multiple classes. So I could push this out to each of my schools that I provide EdTech training. I can also, within my Brown School class, right now it's all students, but maybe I just want to, I can turn that off, and I just want to send this to Miss Combs because I know she's on the line right now. I could send it directly to her. So that's how I can differentiate and ask questions. So now that's a short answer question. So if I post that in there, I can ask that question. I can also choose to make it a multiple choice question. So maybe instead of it being a sign in with your name, this won't record a name, but I could say favorite cereal, and it could be Oreos, Fruity Pebbles. You get the idea. Now, it will not grade their response, but it will allow you to poll the audience. Think of it as like a temperature gauge, okay? Now, when you go to ask this question, you can put this inside of a topic. So you can make sure you post your question and you put it under the today link, okay? So when I do that, I can go ahead and click ask that question, and my question is going to go live, and it's going to give you that icon to let kids know it's a question. So again, multiple choice, open-ended question. Again, I like the idea of you having a question where the students need to sign their name. That's a way that you know, because it's going to let you know that they have participated in the class. Any questions on posing questions? So next up, let's take a look at some other options of what you can do. So when you go, we use the create a topic. We've used the question option. You can also just add a material. So a material means that I can add in anything into Google Classroom that I need my students to have access to. So I want to say distance learning tips, okay? I can give some additional instructions. I can add any resource from my Google Drive, I go to Google Drive, it's going to actually pull up the most recent thing that I'm working on. So I actually have this right here is my Google Meet information. So I'm actually add that. So notice it added that there. I can also add a link to any resource. So if I'm out on the web and I find a great article or resource, or I want to use a Kahoot or a Quizizz assignment, I can grab that link very easily and post it in. I can also, the paperclip link means I'm going to upload anything that I have locally on my drive. So that means if you've got a printout already, you've already got a Word document, you've already got a PDF on your computer, you can hit that file and it can upload anything that's locally on there. So I'm going to find a PDF. Here's the Tech Tips 411 that went out today, and I can upload it. And I can upload multiple files. So that's going to be uploaded. Excuse me, my fourth and final option is YouTube. So YouTube, my understanding, has been opened up so that you can use it with your students right now while they're remote learning. So if you have instructional videos that you, one, posted to YouTube, or two, that you found, such as Khan Academy or other channels that you found, Crash Course, language learning sites that you found that have videos, you can embed those YouTube videos. It gives you the choice of searching for a video, or as well as if you already know the URL, you can add that in as well. So all of those options, the add options, are available there. Now I can also choose to create. I can create a doc immediately attached to that resource if I want to give Rick, if I want a slides template, if I want to create a slides template for the students. Now, if you do a material, it's only going to give them one copy, one access to it. So that means they can see it. So I could go ahead and post this, and I'm using my Brown Middle School class. So my Brown Middle School teachers are going to be like, you keep blowing up my class, adding stuff. Now I forgot, whoops, I forgot to put a topic on it. Here's what's great. I can just drag it down and put that under here for today. I've got my material. I have the same option for creating an assignment. Now, if I go to create an assignment, I'm going to give my instructions. So this is writing task 1. Give my instructions here. Over here to the right, I can make sure it's going to one school or all my schools. So for you, it's one class or all your classes. If it's just in one class, again, drill down to your particular student. I can set the point value. I can also set the due date. So if I'm saying that I only want them to be able to work on this and it needs to be done by Friday, I can do that. And if you're really particular, you can say I need it done by midnight. You can now add a rubric, if such as a project or a written prompt. I got a question. Can a child upload a video they made on his assignment, such as create a video demonstrating you marching? Is there a way for them to send that? Great question. Yes. I'm going to show you how your students can add a link to one. I'm going to go in as a student and show you how that works in just a minute. Great question. Thank you. So I'm going to go up here and I can add in, again, Google Drive link file YouTube. Now, if I do something for my Google Drive, and I'm going to pull up a document here. So this is actually, let me find one that isn't, okay. I was working on my writing last night. Applied for an ISTE scholarship. Hopefully ISTE is still happening. Notice when I attached a Google Doc, it gave me the option of students can view the file. That's if I only want them to be able to read it, or I can let them edit it. So this is if it's a collaborative doc. So for those of you that have been in my trainings, you know that I use a collaborative doc where everybody can go in and sign in. And this is a very magical button right here that I make a copy for each student. That's like going to the copy machine without killing the trees. I'd make a copy for each student in Google Classroom. So that way, if you want them to respond and you get it back and you get a copy from every single student. So that's that, make a copy for each student. And then I would post this. So I'm going to show you all one other thing, and then I'm going to answer that question about how they can post. So I've got assignment. I can reuse a post. So maybe you accidentally posted it in one class and you meant to post it in all of your classes. I can go to reuse a post and go to that particular class. So like say I need to find a assignment that I posted in my Grady class that I have not yet shared with my Brown Middle School class. I can go in and I can grab that and I can reuse it. So I'm going to say this one, I already have it in there, but just it copies everything, pulls up the same dialog box. I can make changes. I can choose who has access to it and so forth. Okay. I can make sure it goes to the right topic. So that's how I can reuse a material that I posted in one class and need to move it to another. Notice I didn't post it, so it went draft. So this is the other important thing. As we're working, you might want things to go out ahead of time, or you might not want the students to see an assignment until later on in the day. One of the other options is when I hit assign, it goes live. But if I choose to hit drop down, I can schedule it or save it as a draft. Saving it as a draft is great if you said, hey, want to schedule this so that it goes out at 3 p.m. today. I don't want them to see it before that. I can do that. And then I can also save a draft if for some reason I need to add something else or another link to a resource there. Great questions. All right, so I'm going to go in as a student real quick, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to do some advanced quiz features. So I'm going to go into my classes. I'm in as a student in my colleague's class. That way y'all could see what it's like as a student. So I'm in, this is my colleague, this is her class. So I'm in as a student. So that way you can see what it looks like for me. So my stream is again where everything is showing up, where she's posting things. Like you can post to the stream or in classwork your link to your Google Meet. So I'm going to go to classwork. Notice she's given me some assignments, Flipgrid, watch a BrainPop video. What is the difference between a solid, liquid, and gas? Miss Allison asked a question about how do they upload something that they've created. So if I go in here to my Flipgrid assignment, I'm going to view my assignment. What she's assigned is for me to go to Flipgrid. But maybe I have something else. I can give private comments to my teacher as a student. I can say, hey, I got a quick question I don't understand. And you'll be alerted. Kids, only you and the student see those. Over here on the important thing, add or create. This is what you're looking for them to add something. So if I wanted to add a video that I've recorded and I didn't put it on Flipgrid, I can do add or create. And these are all of my options. I can upload anything I've saved in my Google Drive, a link to a file I've created. So maybe I have a YouTube channel and I uploaded it to my YouTube channel. I can upload it there, or I can attach it as a file. And I also can create new docs, slide sheets, or drawings. So even if she didn't require me to create a Google slide presentation, I could use to create a Google slide presentation very easily. Great question. Can it be uploaded from your phone? Yes. The Google Classroom interface is very, very handy. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. And I'm glad you asked this question. So I'm in the Google Classroom app. So I'm going to go into Google Classroom and I'm going to go back into that same class where I am a student. So you can see that student side. Okay. So there's Miss Rachel's class. I'm on my phone. So if I recorded that video, and I'm going to go here. She's got, I'm going to go to my classwork, see where I went to classwork. And now I'm going to go to that Flipgrid assignment. So maybe I've pre-recorded the, like you said, the marching activity, because I know you're talking about your RC students. For Miss Combs, who's on the line, maybe you have them doing some language practice and they needed to record a recitation in French. So I could choose to go into my work, add attachment. Do you see that at the bottom? Add attachment. These are all of my options here that I can add anything from my drive, link, a local file. So if I've recorded on my phone, I can choose to upload it. I can pick a photo I've taken, new docs, new slides, all of that. So all of these are available for me to upload it directly from my phone. So great question. Thank you so much for asking that. And this is what it looks like on the student side on the mobile device. I also want to talk about mobile devices. I wanted to point out a lot of our students might not have access to devices. They might not have been issued a laptop. I know our middle school students, we are not quite one-to-one, but a good number of them have devices. Our high school students got, in 9th grade, got hotspots. If you have students that say, well, I don't have a laptop, ask them if they have a gaming device. If they have an Xbox or a Wii, most of our kids do, those actually will work to access Google Classroom from the browser. There's a browser built into Xbox and Wii and other gaming systems that allow them to get to Google Classroom. So that's just a good tip for you guys to know that. Any other questions about uploading from the app and being able to attach assignments? I'm going to go back into my classroom as an instructor and show you a couple other things, okay? Let me see if I'm missing anything else on the chat here. To me as a teacher, I'm going to go into my Brown Middle School class, since I just want to keep dumping all sorts of stuff in there. Classwork. So you might want to use Google Forms to auto grade for you. And that is definitely a great way for you to not have to do the heavy lifting of grading a lot of tasks. So I'm going to go here and I can choose create. And one of the options is a quiz assignment. So if I go to quiz assignment, it's going to auto load a Google form for you. So I can give assignments. And so this is my practice quiz. Okay. Now I do want to point out it's attaching it to this one particular assignment. If I want to attach it to multiple classes, I can. But I always give the caveat of when we grade things, we want it to be separate by class. Unless you don't care and they can all be in one class. You could also post a question in there that asks them to respond to what class they're in so you can sort your data. So I'm going to say practice quiz. I'm going to click on this and open up my blank quiz. So I'm going to give this is my practice quiz, give it a name. Locked mode is a really cool feature, but we're not worrying about that because the kids are not Chromebooks right now. So I'm going to say this is my practice quiz. I'm going to put my date on it so I can keep track of this. So 3/17. I can give any instructions. I'm going to go up here and give it a name as well. There we go. So now I've got a name. So now this is the important thing. I've got this one quiz in here, and in talking to Ms. Allison earlier, we were looking at the fact that the first question you need to put on the Google form is name. Think of it like your paper test when you design a paper test. So this is going to be, so I got first name, it automatically goes to short answer. And I'm going to say last name because I need to make sure that they put both. If you're like me and you might want it to be last name, comma, first name, so you can sort it by last name to put in grades, you can do that as well. Or you could have two separate boxes, but I'm going to do it like this. First name, last name, comma, first name. And I'm going to click required. Make sure that this is on. There's no answer key required for this because this is not a real question. So now I'm going to hit here on the right side. I could hit plus. I can import questions. So if you've already created a quiz in Google Forms, I can import questions. That's a new feature. I can add in a title and a description. So you might have different sections in your quiz. And I can add an image. So yesterday we were talking, I was talking about snapshotting questions or images to bring in. I can add an image, so that's going to live. I can pull up an image. I can put that in there. So that's going to live in there. That's a really big image, so you might want to be thinking about that and give it a title. So I can choose to add a video. So this is great for you to pull in now that YouTube is open. I can put in that video and say, hey, watch this video and then answer the question. And then you can add sections. Now, sections are great if you're building a form that you're like, if you get the question right, you go here, or question wrong, you can go here, or you just want to divide up your topics in your quiz. So I've got my quiz option here, and I'm going to add another question, and I can sort and move these up or down by grabbing up here. Notice when I hover up here, I got a drag bar, so I can move this question up. So I want this question to be before this. Okay, so I'm going to say, what is your favorite cereal? Apparently, I'm still thinking about breakfast. Now, there's no right or wrong answer, but I could still make it be a multiple choice if I am trying to get them to respond, and I want to see how many people say A, how many people say B. Now, if there was a correct answer to this question, I would go into here and I would tag it. Option 1 is the correct answer. It's worth, if you have 10 questions, 10 points. If you only have 5 questions, it's worth 20 points. And I can give answer feedback. That is optional. On incorrect answers, I can say you might want to review Chapter 1, you might want to watch the video again. You might want to read this article. Correct answers can be way to go, good job, again, not required. The other option, because now we're doing this remote learning option, we're distance learning, and the kids are going to have to be a little more autonomous with their learning. I can put a link to a resource to extend their learning, or in this case, they got it wrong. I want to give them that reinforcement. I'm going to push them back to that resource that will help them, or a video of support. It can be something you found on YouTube or a video you've created yourself. So that's the answer feedback. So now once I've got this form created, it's going to live in that one assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close out of this, and I'm going to assign this. Here's my blank form. So there goes. It updated the name. Oops, I forgot to put it on today. I can drag and drop. There it goes. Now it's assigned to today. Now, this is in one class unless you've tagged all of your classes. Again, option 1, if you want to put the same form in all of your classes, put a question in there asking them to answer which class they're in so you can filter your data. If you want to have it separate, then you would create your one quiz. Okay, let's go back to it. I'm going to go to edit. That's where the pencil is right now. This is the view for student. I'm going to go to edit. These 3 dots over here, I can choose to make a copy of it. So you could make practice quiz for first period, practice quiz for second period, practice quiz for third period, and then attach those to each of your classes. The advantage of that is that you have separate buckets of data. For example, I had a math teacher that pushed out one form to all of their students, and one didn't put the name question, and 2, they were all from all different classes. He was not able to sort out the data. So question for name and question for class if you're going to give one form to everybody. So I'm going to actually go live here real quick, and I'm going to fill out my form so that I have a response. All right. Option 1, that's correct. And go down here and I'm going to submit. So I've submitted this. So I'm going to go back as the teacher. And this is the important thing. I'm in my form over here to the right. You're going to see where it says responses. So I have one response. I'm going to click on that and I can see here's my average response. That's what I got. Email, because I had email capture on, I can see my name. I can sort. So this is, I can go here and I can see summary by question, what students responded. So if you're drilling down and being like, so I know this is a challenging question. Let's see how the kids answered. If I want to go to individual, then it's going to pull up basically a printout version of everybody's form. So the other piece is if I go to responses up here, I want to go to this green, looks like a little crosshair box, and I'm going to say create a spreadsheet. I'm going to say create a new one. When I create a new one, it's going to allow me to see a time date stamp of when it was done. So this is how you can verify your students were doing this in a timely manner. I've capped email address so I know who it is. I've got a score. Yes, 100%. I got my name and I've got my answer. So this spreadsheet is generated by going here and creating a spreadsheet for your results. Thoughts, comments? Is this helping, making it a little bit clearer about how you attach these quizzes to your Google Classroom and how you get your data? Let me see here if there's anything else I want to make sure I point out. In Google Classroom, we did fancy text. We did emojis. We did the today section. All right, here's another tip. So you have an extension for Google Classroom, Share to Classroom. This extension looks like this. We're going to add it to Chrome. By doing this, you can add that extension to your Google Class. And so when I do that, I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to bring it over here. If you have a ton of extensions like me, grab it from over here and you can move it so where you can see it. So there it is. When I click on this, so say I'm on a site that has a resource I want to push and make it an assignment. If I click on that, it's going to pull up this dialog box, and notice it's going to pull up all of my Google Classrooms. So I can say I want to push this to my Brown Middle School class. Push to means it's going to push it live. So if you're doing a live session with your kids, you could say, hey, I want everybody on this website page right now, and push that page. If not, I can say create an assignment, ask a question, or make an announcement. When I do that, it pulls up that same dialog box, but it's bringing that page in that I'm looking at as an assignment and pushing it directly into Google Classroom. So that extension comes in very handy with being able to push things directly there. There are several resources that have built-in features to share directly into Google Classroom. Discovery Education Experience, if you're not familiar with it, I shared yesterday a whole session on Discovery Education Experience. You can go back and watch the archive. It's been shared in your Google Classroom. Wakelet has an integration where you can share directly to Google Classroom as well. If you're not familiar with Wakelet, I also had a session on Wakelet yesterday, and that session has been posted in Google Classroom. Flipgrid is great because I can push it directly to Google Classroom, and it's a great way to engage your learners. And Adobe Spark, you can push Adobe Spark directly. Quizizz, Kahoot, a number of other resources are very easy for you to push resources directly to Google Classroom. Any questions as we're going through this?
Jen, can you go back to what you were talking about with the Quizizz and Kahoot?
You can easily share them directly to Google Classroom. So if I go to Quizizz, so now I'm in as me, and I can go to my Quizizz, right? So you're in, I've got my brain pop on digital etiquette, right? 10 questions, I want to share it. If I assign it as homework, I click host again, share a link, Google Classroom. I can just copy that link. If I click on Google Classroom, it's going to actually pull up any of my classes. So I could say send it to Brown Middle School, send it to Bunch Middle School. See how I can grab all of my classes, so I can send that out, and I can give it a title on, you could say practice whatever. So this is our practice. Ask for 3/17, and I schedule it if I want, or I don't want them to see until later. So if I hit now, it's going to go live, okay? And I can click next, and it gets posted in the classroom.
Sounds
so
good.
that way,
Thank you so much.
Is that good? I mean, that's like super easy.
That is. I can do that. Look, in a moment.
Exactly, and you can go in and search where there's tons of French practice ones in there that you can push out.
Or the ones that we've already done that they kind of fit really well with.
Exactly. Great as a review.
Kahoot as well?
Yes, it does. It does.
Okay.
I haven't
That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
And as I was saying, and you hopped on right after I shared the link in the chat, this is the Google Classroom button that if you install this extension, you can push any web link in Google Classroom. So if you have an article you want them to read that you find on time.com that's relevant to what's going on, or a Newsella article, because Newsella has been opened up to everyone, you can push anything from Discovery Education. You can put, I mean, so really any website can become an assignment by using this Google Classroom Chrome extension up here. And I put the link in the chat. I have office hours. I have another session that's coming up on using Flipgrid. And then I have open office hours in the afternoon for any questions you guys might have. Let me know. Anybody else that's on, do you have any other questions on how you can use Google Classroom? Anything that I didn't show you? Oh, I want to show you one more thing, because a lot of people have been bombarded with all of the Google Classrooms that they have, because all of a sudden you become a co-teacher with all the classrooms and you want to better organize. You can go to your main dashboard and see all of your classes. And I'm going to go to my main dashboard here. I can select a class and just drag and rearrange it. So I had coaches that got added as co-teachers that were like, hey, this is, I got 15 million classes. I don't want to have to, what do I do? I want to see mine first. You can select, they've added the option now that you can just drag and drop and reorder these very easily. So you can bring your classes up to the top if you need to. Any other questions for me, comments, thoughts, anything else I can help with? I appreciate your time. I've recorded this session and will upload it to Google Classroom. So tell your colleagues, hey, if they missed it, there will be an archive video that they can come back and check it out. But I very much appreciate your time and your dedication. And again, open office hours. If you have any questions, please let me know. Just a phone call or Google Meet away. Thank you guys very, very much.